Spiritual formation. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Gary, and thank you for giving me a few moments of your time to go on this learning journey of what it means to be formed spiritually. We've been looking at the development of spiritual formation over the years of history to see what it is that we can learn and apply to our daily living. Today, we're going to look at Puritanism. The fifth movement of Christian spirituality we'll talk about is Puritan spirituality, also which came up from the desire to purify what was going on. The previous four movements were desert experience, Eastern tradition, monasticism, and now to Puritanism. In fact, that's where the name comes from. It's efforts to purify the Church of England. Now, when we talk about the contemplative movement, that was really by bringing in a new sense of meditation and contemplation. Puritan spirituality was much more focused on scholastic study. John Owen of the 17th century, as well as Richard Baxter, Jonathan Edwards from the 18th century, were really leaders and heroes of this movement. The background came about because of Luther. One of the early reformers had stressed justification almost to the exclusion of sanctification. So you had a church that believed the gospel and believed grace, but often didn't seem to be changed in their personal lives, and Puritans wanted to change that. Now, Puritans have a very high view of justification by grace through faith, but they also believe that saints are to cooperate in the process of sanctification, and so they designed an effort to rebuild the Christian life on Protestant foundations. They distinguished between what they called a notional faith, where you accept the truth of Scripture, and the Spirit-illuminated force that is dynamic, life-changing. Sin dies and lives are transformed. What they're saying is it's not just about God declaring us holy. There should be evidence that we're bearing fruit, that our lives are changed. We live differently because we've embraced this grace. They had an intense commitment of Scripture. They recognized, or they were characterized, rather, by God's centeredness. They wanted to bring every aspect of their lives under the Christian worldview. So they were, and this is very different because the hermits and the desert fathers would go out to escape society, but the Puritans actually wanted to reform society. So rather than go out by themselves into the desert, they wanted to bring family under God. They wanted to bring government under God, and work under God, everything. Some of them all but advocated a form of theocracy that everything should exist under God. When Elizabeth began to reign and brought Catholicism to England, they couldn't do much governmentally because they weren't welcome. That's when they really began to focus on reforming the family. And we see a lot of healthy movements in that regard. That's what the Puritans did. Again, it's interesting to see how different movements have different focuses. The contemplative movement, which was more spiritual experience, the Puritan movement, which was more scholastic view, and also the Puritan movement being more getting involved in reform in society as opposed to the contemplative movement that sought to escape from society. And that's really the big idea that we're looking at here. It is looking at these various movements and what was unique in each one of them, and then dare to ask ourselves the question, what am I doing? What kind of trajectory is my spiritual formation on? Doesn't matter what you call yourself, from Methodist to Pentecost. Where are you going? What are you headed? What are you trying to accomplish in faith in Jesus Christ? So that's the why behind this journey of looking at what it means to be formed spiritually, and for such a time as this. Well, our time has come and gone, and I am so grateful that you've given me a few moments of your time. I recognize that time is valuable, but I would be so honored and so grateful if you would just share this on your social platform. It would only take just a moment and a couple of clicks, and you can do that. I would appreciate it so much to let other people know of this learning and growing opportunity in all things spiritual formation. Well, until we can meet again, we bid you Godspeed. Bye for now.